Thank you so much, gentlemen. And now we open this morning's session with the first round of panel discussion on the topic, Artificial Intelligence in Action at Auto, the Present and Future Use Cases. This panel will be raising some pertinent and germane questions on how does AI affect the automotive industry? How many AI use cases are there in the auto industry? And is artificial intelligence the future of the auto industry? I take immense pleasure and pride in introducing our panelists for this session. Mr. Shashank Srivastava, Senior Executive Officer, Maruti Suzuki. In his current role, he is responsible for marketing and sales vertical and is in charge of both brand marketing related activities as well as retail's channel management. He is an electronics engineer and a postgraduate from the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. He has been instrumental in making various initiatives in the fast-changing automobile scenario and has played a key role in transforming the M&S area at Maruti Suzuki over the years, including the current thrust on greater digitalization. He is a member of various industry bodies such as Indian Society of Advertisers, Audit Bureau of Circulation, Advertising Standards Council of India, and the CII, National Committee on Marketing. One of the most formidable personalities who have contributed to the digital ecosystem in India. Mr. Shashank Srivastava's contribution to MSIL and industry has been widely acknowledged by industry experts, for which he has won several recognitions and awards and has been hailed among the top 100 business leaders. Second, Mr. Jyoti Malhotra, MD and CEO, Volvo Cars, India Executive Director. He joined Volvo in the year 2016 and was elevated to this role recently in the year 2021. Notably, the first Indian to hold this post. A veteran of India's automobile industry with over 2 decades of experience, he has held national, regional, and local positions in various automotive companies like Mahindra & Mahindra, Maruti Suzuki, and Fiat Auto India before taking over as Director Marketing and Sales in Volvo Car India. Jyoti pursued MBA in marketing from Bharatiya Vidyapeeth after completing Bachelor of Engineering Production from University of Pune. He has also completed Global Program for Management Development from Stephen M. Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan. Mr. Ajay Mittal, Head, Analytics and Digital, Volvo Eicher Commercial Vehicle. Since February 2019 to present, he is responsible for digital and analytics program solutioning and delivery. Earlier, he was at IBM as the program manager for telecom analytics for a major telecom client in USA, business area manager for telecom analytics at IBM Gurgaon, and has also worked for Wipro Technology, Seagate Technologies, Satyam, Belmark Solutions, and a few others. Harshit Mathur, OEM Sales and Marketing Head at Itriangle Infotech. He has over 8 years of experience in the automobile industry with Mahindra and HMSI, Tata Motors, and Maruti. And he's worked in after-sales and service promotion. Our next panelist is going to be Mr. Gaurav Gupta, Chief Commercial Officer, MG Motors. Mr. Gaurav has earlier held the posts of the Managing Director and CEO of General Motors in Vietnam and Indonesia, and he has been the MD of Bridgestone Tire, Indonesia. A business professional with over 24 years of experience in general management and operations. He's worked in India, China, Vietnam, Indonesia, Singapore, and Dubai. He has expertise on business transformation, restructuring, strategy and sustainability, P&L, commercial, sales and marketing, manufacturing operations, business restructuring, including spin-off, and labor and government relations. After almost a decade of CEO, MD roles in the automotive industry in ASEAN, he now enjoys the challenge of being the part of an automotive startup, MG, Morris Garage in India. And of course, Anuj Guglani, co-founder and CEO of the WAFit Group, an engineering graduate from Nagpur University, MBA from IIT Delhi, a law degree from the Law Faculty, Delhi University, founder of the World Auto Forum in the year 2009, has been the CEO of ACE at Work, and from 2001 to 2007, he has been with Honda Cars, General Motors across channel sales, as well as product and retail sales training. I would now request these panelists to come on the stage.
So good morning once again, friends. So again, a warm welcome to you. So we are here for a very important topic. So as I had shared with you, AI, IoT, telematics is the sweet spot of either disruptive or transformational technology in the industry. See, normally automotive industry has never been at the forefront of adopting newer things, especially digital. But here, we have no choice. If we don't adopt, we'll get left behind. You see companies like Tesla, look at their market cap, it is more than sum total of all the car makers. Could be a bubble, could be a temporary situation. Other companies have been there for 100 years, 150 years, whatever. But then it is a reality, it is a clear and present reality. And I personally feel that automotive industry can really harness, can really adopt these new technologies and get to the next level. It's like, a father is a father. Hindi mein aise kahavat hoti hai. So at the end of the day, we are the guys who move the wheels. We know our stuff. We know our technology. It can just be a nice layer to have, and then nothing stops us. We become unstoppable. So here in the first panel, we are talking about AI. AI in action. And AI in action, I'm not even sure if we can say next few years is a horizon or next few months is a horizon, because things are changing so fast. So first of all, AI hai kya cheez? AI, I personally feel, is the most abused term in the industry. AI. Even digital marketing agencies say we have AI, we use AI for your digital marketing. So everyone is saying AI, 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 But ye hai kya AI? The other thing is in corporate boardrooms, the chairman, the investors, the shareholders, directors, अरे कुछ AI कर दो इसमें यार, AI लगा दो. It's a buzzword. But what really is AI? Well, AI is possibly a set of algorithms, as simple as that. But what purpose is it helping us achieve? At the end of the day, how is it making us have a better customer experience? How is it helping us manage our supply chains in a better way? Probably better visual inspection, smarter production, manufacturing, higher productivity. Or how is it helping us be safer? How is it empowering the ADAS, which we are all talking and seeing? Even in India, we're having companies launch products with ADAS now. Gradually, it's becoming mainstream. How can we use it for predictive maintenance, for insurance? So a whole host of things we want to discuss now. And I feel we couldn't have had a better panel than this to talk about AI, the most, the favorite word, the favorite buzzword. So if we begin with the #1 car maker of the country, because they are the ones who, essentially set the agenda, set the flow for most of the companies in the industry. So, Shashank ji, what are your views on AI? How Maruti Suzuki has been harnessing, adopting at various of these avenues that I just discussed. What is your take on the future of AI in automotive?
Good morning. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this panel discussion. I think it touches upon a very, very important subject. I don't know about those board discussions you were referring to of कि कुछ AI लगा दो. I don't know whether that is true or not. But AI, essentially, if you look at the usage of AI, it cuts across all verticals of our company. Now, what all things you can do? Essentially, what is done in AI is you have a lot of data which are gathered about the vehicle, about the economy, about supply chain, about any aspect of business. And this data is collected. Normally, you would earlier on use analytics manually, or people make some brilliant people looking at it and making some sense out of it. But here is it possible to have some sort of a machine doing it for you. It's a software which does it for you. It gets better as more data comes in, and it correlates with the different variables which you have identified. So while it's still developed by human beings, but probably as data gets more and more accurate and enlarged, you have much better decision making. Now in Maruti Suzuki, we have almost, as I said, almost all verticals we applied. First is demand forecasting. So you have many, one of the most important things that the auto industry is always wanting to do is to have somehow a good forecasting. And that's something which we have been trying for 25 years and have failed. This time.
Now that's bold.
Yeah, failure is
milestone.
Yeah, it's a milestone. So, but we believe we are getting more accurate now with the new tech tools which are available. That helps us plan production better. Maybe not get semiconductors better, but at least the predictions are better. It helps us manage inventory at dealerships also better. That's one part. The inventory management, supply chain, whole sequence of.
These are huge challenges at Maruti Suzuki and the main game, I would say.
Yes. Even logistics, for example, you have about 5,000-6,000 trucks which move every day in and out. So, and different routes for both material planning. Remember, there are many components in Maruti Suzuki where we keep stock for 15 minutes.
Wow.
So it's not like...
DOL.
Yeah. So it's not like 1 day or 2 day of stock, 15 minutes of stock.
Absolutely.
So you have to plan it. So those things are also being helped now with extensive online logistics data as well. This one part I'm talking about, the material flow. On the consumer side, actually, it gets very interesting. Because consumers, being humans, are more complex and difficult to understand. So we have a system of what we call the CDP, where you get data about the customers, all the transactions, which is essentially a DMS base, but also interactional data, which could be website, which could be their social media, for example. I know what Anuj is talking about in the social media, who he's friending, who his friends are, and I can predict.
आपके पोस्ट वैसे बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग होते हैं 5 lines, 7 lines.
Yeah.
5 words.
So this is also a sort of a veiled threat to people, just in case I know a lot about this through AI. But the thing is that we get this data, you put it together, you get a sort of a predictive behavioral analysis of people. You can actually predict people, whether a lead from them, what likelihood it is to convert to sales. So we have a lead, predictive lead analysis, where you can actually tell your salespeople to pursue certain type of leads, which will give you a much better conversion. Earlier, you used to have that experienced salesman saying, ye hot lead hai, ye cold hai, ye neutral, that sort of thing. But now you can do a much better. And the results are great. We do also some things like a mood map, or you can also do a heat map of consumers. So we are doing with the AI-based startup, AI startup, where people who walk in the showroom, we can tell from their retina movement and their facial expressions what are they really interested in, and how likely how interested they are in the product. So sometimes a family walks in, is the man leading, saying this is this, but the heat map tells us that actually, it is not the husband taking the decision, it is the wife who is taking the decision.
That's a very dangerous heat map you're referring to.
Yeah, but this is a very common example, Anuj, because we all know wives take all the decisions, so there maybe AI is not needed, but it's something where you can find out. You can also predict, for example, I'll give you a live example just a few weeks back. There was a WagonR consumer who took a WagonR in 2005. And we had a whole history of his family and etc., all that data. And we came to know the daughter of that person should be passing out of things. So we approached them, and she was planning to buy a i20. But when we approached them, and she's in Gargi College, just passed out of Gargi College, so they were surprised, and actually now she's a Wagoner owner. Now this is a fairy tale sort of thing. Yeah, and it's true. It's true. I mean, people, when I relate this, people say, yeah, it's not. And you have so many things where you can use AI. I'm not. I think I'll allow other guys to also pitch in, and we will discuss this. There are a lot of things which AI can do, including things like a driver behavior, how distracted a driver is. So you can monitor the retina, and you can actually see if the dealer is distracted, if he's looking around, or he's sleeping, or drowsing, or anywhere distracted. You can actually tell them. So it's sort of safety as well. You're using this, therefore, on predictive maintenance, as you talked about. Or, for example, whether you can actually driver behavior, you can put them in whether he's a rash driver or a safe driver. You can actually now, projects are going on to relate insurance premiums with this thing. So there are many. I'll allow the other panelists to talk more about it. And then maybe we can discuss how the future of this AI will pan up in the auto industry. Thank you.
So I think one thing is pretty clear from what Shashank San just shared, that the #1 car maker is not using AI as just a buzzword. They're really using it for end objectives. A Wagoner customer's daughter buying the next gen Wagoner, retaining in the brand as well as the same vehicles next generation. I think that's a lot to be spoken about. And retina ke piche to puri duniya pad gayi hai, so that also we need to see privacy, this, that. And about the showroom, matlab अब तो वो भी टाइम आ जाएगा when you're scanning the retina, अरे ये तो उसको तो washroom जाना है यार, छोड़ो ये customer इतना important नहीं है. So there can be multiple applications, but the high point of concern here is when we are collecting so much of data, so many data points of consumers. I just walk into a showroom and my retina gets scanned, my face gets scanned, my expression gets scanned. All that data is going to some server. So we know what happened during lockdown. India became the #1 cyber attacked country in the world, not just in the continent or subcontinent, in the world. And even ordinary times, we are the second highest cyber attack, US being first. For some reason, India is #2. I don't know kiski hit list pe hum. So in that scenario, when data compromises is the order of the day, and especially our country is that target. So with so much of data points, security becomes a huge, significance. So switching gears and now coming from the mass segment leader to luxury segment niche. So when it comes to a company like Volvo Car India or Volvo Cars Global, lot of respect, friends. They just opened up the seatbelt patent decades back. In fact, around 10 years back, I heard for the first time a pedestrian airbag. It was unheard. Jaguar also might have experimented, but they were the ones who, I think Volvo V40 came out first. So they have been leaders in safety. So when it comes to safety, security, engineering, design, customer experience, so would love to know from Jyoti how the company is harnessing AI, especially when it comes to luxury, customer. AI is democratizing a lot of things. So how is it different for a luxury customer than a mass vehicle customer? Some thoughts on that?
So I think in one respect, we are very similar. I think as Shashank ji said, I think AI is being used across the value chain, starting from how you design a car and how do you sort of sell a car, how do you predict customers. So I think it's sort of being used across. But specifically coming from Volvo, I can share that, Volvo, as you said, one of the key DNA ingrains we have is safety, right? And when it comes to safety, we have been having data from accidents across countries for last 20-25 years. All that data was coming in and it was being used, but not really used in the right sense, because of it was ultimately humans who will sort of do this analysis. Now all that data is being fed using AI, and that helps to ensure that we are able to now predict based on combination of human behavior as well as I think surroundings, situations, that what causes the accident. And then how can you take that data back and build cars which can sort of ensure that those sort of things are not repeated. So that power of data is now being unleashed because we were capturing data but not really able to make use in the best way. Let's say now we are also talking about future, we are talking about vehicles will become connected, right? So there is a talk about this V2X. Vehicle will talk to everything. Vehicle can talk to pedestrian, vehicle can talk to V2X. They can, within that there is V2P, V2I, we can talk to infrastructure, vehicles can talk to other vehicles. So this data and data analytics and artificial intelligence coming together can be very, very powerful when we convert this in creating connected cars, which will become even more safer. Because in the end, the purpose of connected cars and that connected car leading into autonomous drive, which we are all talking about, is about, and as Shashank said and you said, I think AI is about, instead of humans, machine taking decisions based on facts. And I think now with machine learning, there is a lot of human behaviors which can be captured because see, let's say when we drive a car, we predict, we know this guy is likely to take a right turn. Now, there is something that sense tells us that that's going to happen, right? And we sort of take care of that. And that is coming now. Machines are starting to learn those things because simple data will not tell you, but data analysis because how we have learned is through experience. Same way machines are learning and those data are now being fed in ensuring that we are able to design cars which can sort of take care of safety. Another interesting thing, and maybe we can talk later more about it, we have started using in some of the countries AI for recruitment purpose also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's say if we have to hire a technician for a car, the car chooses the technician because the car has the features to based on the body language, face language, the usage of word, and so that this person is the right person and in a very unbiased manner can decide and sort of help us choose. And I think in Belgium recently, 50 technicians were chosen based purely on the AI, and I think they're doing quite well. And so forth. I think it can be used in many ways across the value chain.
One concern here. To what extent do you give priority to past data? Because I think a lot of companies get stuck in that.
Yeah.
You know, so if you just, like there was this company where mostly whites were working and AI took it that whites are the preference. So it was only giving whites as the suggestions and they got stuck in a legal wrangle there.
Yeah, so in the algorithm, basically you tell what things to pick up. Is it about the skin, color skin or the words or body language? So body language is neutral. Body language will not be picked if the algorithm has been designed in such a way that it will not then differentiate and create an unbiased sort of input. And this is, you are absolutely right, because if you go by past data, then Automobile will continue to hire more and more males and not females, whereas I think
Precisely.
now I think we're talking about equal opportunity for everyone in a diversified way, but algorithms can help do that, and that's exactly in when we in the Belgium example which I gave you, there it was done in a very unbiased manner. It did not differentiate between a male or a female or a skin color or any racial. Those things were not part of the decision making. It was based on the body language, the skill sets, because this possible employee sat inside the car. The car system has the facial recognition capabilities already. That used, and then it will keep on taking tests by putting a picture. Okay, do you know where in this picture where is the compressor? So somebody can go and choose this is where it is. So I think this can help us. We need to design, because that is where human and machines come together in creating algorithms, and that helps us to ensure that we are able to take unbiased decisions.
That's fantastic. So you sit in the car and the car says, "Aao, main tumhara interview leti hu," something like that. So that's surely the future. In fact, talking about the biases and all, I think what MG Motor India has done, I think more than a third, I would not say manpower, workforce, they are females. So I think that's really a huge feather in the cap. And what I've heard, they are aiming at 50% or 51% as what the Indian entrepreneurs prefer. So now switching gears again and coming to Gaurav, who's been leading this piece of AI at MG Motor, and they pioneered with Internet Inside, and then a few months back they came out with AI Inside. So vehicles with AI, and as they say, by 2028, more than 90% of the vehicles would have, these voice capabilities. So they would be going mainstream. But of course, and the other thing is, one is having it, the other is propagating and talking about it. So I think AI Inside, Internet Inside have also been huge marketing stories, huge marketing buzz they have created. So Gaurav, what are you doing on AI at MG and across the divisions, across the organization and the in-vehicle? What are your views on it?
So firstly, thank you so much. I think after we've heard Shashank and Jyoti speak and your introduction, I think we can all have a coffee break because all has been talked about AI. But of course, the important part, let me just take a step here. And before I talk about MG, I think the way we look at AI, and I think all of us are doing, there was a time when, the AI-based chess, as we all know, is, the most cerebral game that we have seen on planet Earth. And there was a time when the grandmaster was defeated by the computer, right? This is just about recently. And then we had the grandmaster backed with AI, and that combination was able to beat the supercomputer. So the key factor here is that AI by itself, is independent, but AI, when it's collaborating with humans like Jyoti referred to, that is where it becomes, I would say, a killer application, literally. And you combine that with data sciences, machine learning, you have a superpower that we all are, working with. It's still evolving overall. Now, how do we look at as an automotive space? I think it starts right from, from the design stage up to consumer, like Shashank and Jyoti also referred. So if you look at design per se, in the past you had designers who would design a car and they would be looking at, developing on the computer, then we were looking at clay models. But now you've got all the data coming into them as to what has been a consumer preference across the board, what has not worked, what has been a high accidental item, and that is what they use for designing also. And we have seen that at our design centers in UK as well. One more point, non-automotive, but it might be interesting for everyone. PepsiCo does a lot of research work as well. And they looked at AI. Shashank and Jyoti referred about, consumer interest as to what is Anuj liking. And just purely by AI, looking at the teenagers' preference of food, what they were posting on social media, etc., they were able to literally narrow down to a new flavor of their chips, which is seaweed flavor, which is only a Japanese-oriented flavor largely. If you ask them, and I had a chance to talk to them, purely by focus group discussion and research, they would have never got it. But by analyzing consumer trends, younger trends, they were able to develop that flavor, and that has been a super hit for them. So that same analogy, if you draw down to automotive, a lot of the feature-based, a lot of designs will start and are already emerging from an AI-based supported area. Supply chain, Shashank talked about. Then you come to manufacturing. There's a lot of potential. So we talk about manufacturing 4.0, but at MG, we are also working where we've got a digital twin of our manufacturing process, which is able to simulate as well as collaborate with the real-time data. So looking at IoT and AI, you're able to really look at efficiencies in manufacturing, maintenance, and also tell us what effective benefits we are getting. So we have it in our paint shop right now with the help of Mindsphere and Siemens, and we're almost looking at 15 to 20% efficiency gain in our running time. Moving on to consumer side, on the product side, of course, you talked about Internet Inside. So when we launched the EMG Hector in 2019, it has the Internet Inside, so the chip inside the car as well. It is learning already, so the voice interaction was leveraging the natural language processing right from day one. So the more you talk with the car, it starts to understand you better. And that is when it starts to engage in a conversation with you. So that is a start that we brought in with the car. And then, of course, when we looked at the autonomous features coming into our next two cars, like the Gloucester and the Astra, so all these driver assistance systems, they all are able primarily by the AI features. And they will all get enhanced, to different levels, whether it's level 1, level 2, going up to higher levels, or backed by AI and V2X. And now with 5G in India, you can actually expect a lot of that coming in, but of course it'll take some time. Developed markets are working on that. So that is, taking into account real life conditions, driver behavior, quick responses, and that helps in the autonomous levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of course, but as of now in India, we are looking at 1 and 2 going forward for some time. Shifting gears, then you move to consumer, right? You talked about consumer behavior, consumer approaches, you're talking about focused consumer interactions that again become very, very hyper-local. So exactly what is my journey, whether it's in buying or whether it's also my social media analysis, and then you're looking at targeted, with the help of global giants, whether it's Adobe, etc., how do you target those customers, potential and current, to make it an engaging experience? Move forward. You talked about recruitment. So we have actually, we use, for our hiring, we have used AI, not only for our technicians, but also for our regular workforce. So our potential employees go through a test and they go through an AI interaction interview as well. And again, it's a collaborative approach. So you don't, on the basis of that, you don't remove any candidate, but you are looking at the preferential order in how you then look at a face-to-face interaction. That's working out very well. We also use AI for our training of our manpower, both in our showrooms and in our back-end center. Our showroom people actually are able to record their videos as to how they would give a demo or talk to a customer. So the facial expressions, the voice tones, all of that is recorded, and they get a feedback about how to improve and take it to the next level. And again, look at this, imagine the combination of self-training using AI and knowing what the consumer is interested in. Like Shashank mentioned, in the case of who to target and who to talk with, not target is the wrong word actually, who to interact with during the buying process. It's again a very, very powerful combination, win-win for both sides. Lastly, I'll just add one more element here, is that there's a lot of potential and we are experimenting that in our call center. Usually, historically, you have people on the phone talking to, whether it's a repair issue or a potential customer inquiry issue, and you would have the history of the data of the customer, what car has he bought, or any other industry as well, right? How many calls have happened, old cases, new cases. So you're able to give a very scientific-based answer. But what AI enables now, if you put an AI layer on this interaction, AI tells you for the interaction that the person on the other hand is not appreciating, because the voice tones will tell you how to look at modulating your interaction. This is, I think, a very great experience, because even if your problem is not solved, but the manner in which you interact with the person on the other end makes a lot of difference in the overall experience. So then if you summarize all this, you're looking at an AI right from design stage to a consumer interaction stage, how it weaves into every facet of your business. So that is how, I see how AI gets incorporated. And of course, lastly, I would say to bring in an MG element here, that innovation being a part of our brand vertical, that is an area we really work on. And in fact, we do have a dedicated team to work on innovation continuously at our end. So it's a long way to go. It's just starting right now, Anuj.
Well, I'm really happy to know that, we've already heard 3 leaders of the industry, and all 3 of them had one thing in common, that they have gone beyond AI being a buzzword. They are actually hands-on, practically using at every sphere function of their organization, and they have use cases and best practices and positive results to share. And that's really commendable. Here, I would just like to, share one thing which I had even written in the email, that in 2020, IBM had filed more than 9,100 patents in 1 year, and IBM has always been the world leader in filing patents last several decades now. Out of those 9,000 odd patents, more than 2,000 patents were AI. So when so much of technology is going into automotive, and when we are seeing the electrification of mobility, the moving parts going out, there are hardly any moving parts. So does the automobile boil down to just 4 wheels, little equipment, and a whole lot of electronics and AI and IoT and telematics? If that is the case, then would the auto companies kind of give mobility on a platter to companies like Amazon or Tesla or IBM? This is something which we can talk about. And also, during our conversations, thereafter, and also shifting gears and now coming to CV. We have seen mainstream, we have seen luxury, we have seen high-end tech. Now let's talk about CV. Friends, CV is not something that you buy for leisure or for your family or for flaunting or showing off. CV is purely dhande ki baat. So I cannot flaunt that I have AI in my car, or I have internet in my car, or I have this gadget in my car, or I have this big touchscreen in my car or vehicle. How is AI making a difference to the CV customer and accentuating the dhande ki baat?
Sure. So thanks, Anuj, for bringing the glorified version of the CV. So let me put this in a simple terms. 2-3 points, I'll make it up. AI is nothing but which augments the human intelligence.
Ajay, you can just get it closer
Sorry.
to you. Yeah.
AI is about augmenting the human intelligence. That's how we follow. And our organization's key message is bring relevant modernization in the CV industry. So keeping that in mind, what we do? We looked upon, okay, what is the connectivity, what is the automation, what is the intelligence part to be bringing in. And then about 2 years back, our organization launched that any product we sell, which is like a truck, should be 100% connected. So that's what we have launched. August 20, when we were dealing with COVID, before that we did that. And now what are the results we are getting it? Now we are able to capture real time all the vehicles data, all the driver vehicle operational data, and we are now able to bring those value by using a simple concept called operationalizing the analytics. Whatever I heard the use cases, but this is the mantra we follow. How we are operationalized? We have an uptime center running in our organization, which provides real-time predictive and service to our customers when their vehicle is at the breakdown. We predict, detect, and provide service. AI is not about getting data and preparing PPTs and Excels and then do a boardroom discussions. It is about how you can put into operations. That is what a real-time example or real-life example of our organization is Uptime Center, where our product experts analyze the data which is coming from these vehicles as per their operations. A product which is running in Jammu Kashmir might behave differently when it is running in Nagaland or in Kanyakumari or in middle part of the India. So each segment specific operations we are able to analyze, identify what is to be done to improve the quality of service. Because CV, nobody will buy for leisure, they buy for uptime. That is how we go. We want to make the vehicle to run maximum times. Now we are seeing that how the industry has changed after COVID. The vehicle which used to run 6 to 7 hours a day, now they have started running about 16 to 17 hours a day. How is it possible?
Oh my God, the poor driver, huh? I hope
No, that's
one
where
shift, 2 shifts.
No, that is where it is relay. So it is a relay concept in drivers they are doing. But the product, the vehicle needs to have that efficiency and capability and reliability to give that running. That is being ensured through this, utilizing the data and improving the product quality. What is the other aspect of using analytics and AI? We have offered a digital platform to our customers. We named it as My Eicher. What it does, it brings analytics in the hand of customer. As per their profile or persona, being an owner, being a driver, or being a fleet manager, they understand what is happening in their product, in their vehicle, how it is being operated upon, and what improvement they need to bring in their operations using that. Be it in terms of driver training, be it in terms of their scheduling, and also giving us the feedback. Taking it back further, how we are improving the quality of service. We are utilizing it to make it a dynamic operation by our channel partners by giving them insights about vehicle before even they report to our workshop or even if they report to workshop. We have technicians use that data and insights to improve the quality of service or offering it. I'm aware of what is the problem in the vehicle even if before the vehicle has entered my workshop. And my technician is given the SOP to bring the vehicle up in less amount of time because there is a defined SOP.
Ajay, 2 concerns over here. Like we talk to a lot of fleet guys. So typically, even now, though during the lockdown it has changed a bit, but still, most of the drivers and the fleet guys still have feature phones. Reh jata hai, gir jata hai, toot jata hai, rough. So they have essentially that's their work phone.
Yes.
They might have a smartphone, but that might be at home for children's classes and this and that. But when they have a feature phone, and a lot of them, because of the cost of ownership or better saving, they might not come to the OEM workshop. They might have their own workshop or they might go to somewhere outside. So with these challenges, how do you ensure that these benefits get permitted to them?
Very good point, Anuj. Let me give you a perspective of the customer personas to answer my point. Roughly about 55% of the vehicles of the truck owners are single vehicle owners, primarily, or less than 2 vehicle owners. And they carry 2 types of phone. One, the feature phone or a old phone, Nokias and all, or one, the smartphone for the other purpose. And they are very well versed with the WhatsApp. Huh? We have monitored that. We know they use WhatsApp very effectively. So what we do is, now to overcome that challenge, we have used a digital method to reach out to them via SMS, give them the insight about their vehicle via SMS at the end of the day, so that they are aware of what is the vehicle performance or what is vehicle telling us. Plus, they are also very knowledgeable because they are the executor of the operation. So it is about augmenting their ability. So that is how we do. Then we have other aspects. See, during the vehicle warranty period, most of the owners will go to the workshops.
Absolutely, that's
So
of course
that is
there.
the period that we utilize to improve our quality of service. Taking back to from uptime to channel partner operation effectiveness to manufacturing side, I think a lot has been talked about. Same is being used. We have a plant in Bhopal, in Bhagat, which is IoT 4.0 enabled. It is the autonomous plant. VPDC, our plant in Indore, Pithampur, it is the fully automated plant. I think Sunil sir will know about it, being from the Volvo family. So we have that autonomous plant, and they all have the required and beyond, both side of it. Operational effectiveness, utilizing the analytics around it, the product quality improvement using analytics around it. We have the predictive maintenance of our machines using the IoT to improve the effectiveness and the operation. The reason is, in our industry, the uptime is the key. If all our operations, the quality of product ultimately translates to uptime for customers. So that's how we follow. So this is the full chain that we have enabled.
I know it sounds familiar because a couple of years back during our interaction with a couple of Volvo Eicher dealer principals, one of them had shared that one of them has a workshop at the main highway, and they got a call from one of the truck guys. Their truck had broken down in the middle of the highway, and the driver was carrying chickens, hens and cocks, and it was peak summer. So the guy was really panicking. He said, if you don't come in next half an hour, my chickens would start dying right on the vehicle. So they had to really rush to the rescue. And yes, that's a very fine point that even if the drivers might have a feature phone, the fleet managers would surely have smartphone because it's all about dhande ki baat.
Right. So on this point, Anuj, I'll add two aspects of it. First, to answer your breakdown point, that is where the AI comes into picture, or analytics comes into picture now, that we are able to utilize this connected data to identify what are the areas where our reach is low, so that we can position our aftermarket channels, the dealers or the assistants of repair accordingly. We have utilized it. It is part of our strategy when we look into our channel partner expansions. We use a lot of this data to identify those strategic locations and nature of service that we want to offer in those locations, because we know where our vehicles are flying. Second aspect of it, the digital platform that we have enabled, it is for, as I mentioned, it is for all the personas of the customer organization, from owner to fleet manager to driver, basis the digital capability they have in their hand. So as you mentioned, fleet manager is in an office, he has access to the laptop or an app, owner mostly on the app. But the capabilities are enabled in their language, in their digital platform, so that it's easy for them to consume. I can quote one simple example. In one of our industry, in our industry, one of the problem that we face is fuel theft.
Absolutely, I was about to come to that.
Okay, so fuel theft. So how we can detect and predict? Obviously, prediction is very difficult. Detection is doable.
You can scan the retina.
So now, in terms of even a detection, the vehicle operations makes it more challenging. If it's in a haulage or a e-commerce segment, the ability to do a theft of higher quantity is quite possible because nobody is monitoring them. But through data, we are able to do that. But in case of a mining where it's a closed operation, high amount of theft is not possible unless everybody is involved in that activity. Sorry about that, but so that is where analytics comes into picture to even go to that level of, you do a mischievous activity of 5 liter, we are able to tell you. We are working in that direction. Digital capabilities are there, but that's how we are into. That we are with business, we are with customer into their operation to bring change in their operation. Now we are seeing a lot of customers who operate on a fixed contract in their vehicle operations are moving from fixed to consumption based. And this is where this solutions comes in handy.
I remember, in fact, this, I vividly remember, this was several years back at the Auto Expo at your pavilion. So I had asked one of your company personnel, so they were showcasing telematics. It was just started, just the beginning of telematics, the T of telematics. So I just said, how is your telematics different? Everybody is offering. What do you give different? He said, we are giving one feature which no one is giving. I said, what is that? He said, we have a fuel lid opening notification. Whenever the fuel lid gets opened, a notification SMS goes to the owner or the fleet manager, which nobody is offering. So that being a really big point in this industry, so that was a huge problem you solved without the VTLs and the NFCs and the BTs and 4G of the world back then. How did you manage that?
So in 2016 exactly, we launched the telematics-enabled platform called Eicher Live. That is what the brand name we launched, and that is what is part of our Eicher, my Eicher now, as an Eicher Live Plus, where we have augmented a lot of features. The feature that you talked about is about sensorization. You enable the right sensorization to bring efficiency in the customer operations. So similarly, we have notification about harsh acceleration. We have notification about harsh braking. But is it sufficient? No. I can notify you every minute, but what is the effectiveness of it? So we have translated that into converting that into a driver behavior analytics and giving the information to their respective fleet owner and the owners, or even in our organization, to take that to driver training. Because some of the drivers give right FE, some of them give a low FE or a mediocre FE. What is the difference? Although they are on the same route, similar set of driving conditions. So these are the differentiator which comes into when we look into analytics and utilize into, again, coming back to statement, operationalize the analytics.
Fair enough, fair enough. So switching gears, so all these technologies that we have just discussed, so who is powering all these things? What is powering? So now, friends, it is time to get into the conversation, a company which has two feathers in their cap. Number one, they are the largest telematics company in the country. Okay, fair enough, it's not easy. But then what is even more difficult, they're also the fastest growing telematics company. So being number one and being the fastest growing. So talking about Itriangle. So Harshit is from Itriangle. So Harshit, now you have the undue advantage. You have listened to everyone. So what is your take on the next gen AI powering the next gen telematics?
Thanks Anuj. First of all, I am highly elated to have this, share this dais with the industry veterans. And I could recollect my old days while I worked in auto industry. And the real challenge, right from vehicle design level to vehicle manufacture, vehicle operations, customer retention, and repeat sales. Because this is what the end agenda of or overall cycle of an automotive industry is. So with IoT, telematics, and there are the products, there are the solutions, which we call under the shelter of AI and IoT. So with the joint algorithm design, with the joint inputs from OEM level, right from the design level and their vehicle architecture, we can create an ecosystem where we can have those solutions on board at the OEM, at the manufacturer level, as well as at the consumer, wherein we can create a huge value addition. And that value creation will certainly highlight the customer's satisfaction level, not only in terms of monetary aspects, rather the special aspect of that goes that connected cars or connected vehicles, what we call about. So overall, and collecting to a holistic picture, that any IoT or telematic solution which is there, like if we talk about CV, and as you mentioned, it is dhande ki baat. Yes, so at any given time, any commercial vehicle is meant to be used and operated at a maximum possible operational efficiency. And with IoT solutions, we have a regular, understanding of the vehicle data, that what is happening at vehicle level. What could be the solutions or what could be the option with which we can have predictive maintenance. And this, I believe everyone in this room will agree to the fact that a properly and a scheduled predictive maintenance brings a lot, value addition by reducing breakdown maintenance. which is a very key feature. And when I talk about breakdown maintenance, it is not only specific to a commercial vehicle or a luxury car or a mass segment car. It is applicable to everyone, whether it's a two-wheeler user, four-wheeler user, commercial vehicle, bus, truck, anything. So nowadays, with artificial intelligence and IoT, we have a solutions which can pitch in and which can, connect with the vehicle. They can talk to the vehicle related and vehicle related operational parameters on real-time basis. And the data sync is such a huge pool. Now it is very important to utilize that data very well. I believe utilizing that data particularly in an efficient way itself brings in lot more value rather than just having the data.
So Harshit, if we have to ask you right now in this room, that what is it that is missing in the automotive space that the company should be using in technology, what would that be according to you?
See, in technology, if we talk about the current technology at vehicle level, which is there, we can harness that technology itself to a very great level wherein we can have a regular time, full-time connect with each and every vehicle plying on the roads. And this will certainly boost huge confidence at the user level that yes, if something goes wrong, I am having a back support with me. Or I can have a something sort of, predictive analysis, prognostics. So these things bring in a real-time value addition and satisfaction at the user level, as well as at the end of vehicle manufacturer.
See, when it comes to luxury vehicles, I'm not sure. I don't own one, so I cannot comment. So when it सारे पैसे event करने में खर्च हो जाते हैं, क्या करें? So when it comes to a luxury vehicle, who gets the SMS or notification? Does it go to the driver? Does it go to the manager or the secretary? So who decides that when the car needs to go for service? Similarly, when it comes to mass segment vehicle, is it possible, viable to get at that price point? And then also customer education. Now if you tell an entry-level customer कि you have to pay 6,000 more or 7,000 more, नहीं चाहिए, discount है तो बताओ, या FOC कर दो. So how did you meet these challenges at both the spectrum ends?
See, that is what. First of all, this IoT telematics, what we have to have a perspective is, it shall not, or maybe in the industry currently it might be looked upon as a cost center. But I'm very sure we have certain solutions as an industry to offer which can bring in this concept as a revenue center. Because, for example, any user of any vehicle is having a certain state of engine health. Now that if at the right time we pitch the right solution, I think the sales conversion or the lead conversion of that particular customer would be very high.
So if I'm driving my car and I'm giving you my data for analysis, can I be paid for my data? Can I get some paise or some rupees per kilometer? It can be a revenue center for the customer too.
So that's what as when we bring in all those solutions through IoT and telematics. So, data security, cyber security, these sort of concepts now come into the picture where we have to go hand in hand with the vehicle manufacturer and their idea and their discretion.
You have all the top guys here.
So that's what the solution which we can build up or, this industry can bring in. Certainly we have these solutions. And as you asked about, that notification, that alert should reach to the right person, I believe. For a commercial vehicle, it should reach to the concerned stakeholders or the fleet managers. When you talk about luxury cars, it's maybe dependent upon, because people using luxury cars may have a huge set of bandwidth wherein there will be people who would be maintaining all their cars,
layers.
right? And for a mass segment car makers and, mass segment car users, the right driver or maybe the car owner would be keen to get all those notifications.
Great.
So anyways, that's not a big challenge and that's a entirely customizable entity.
Fair enough. So before we come back to Shashank ji for the summing up, when we all sum up our points, I'll just share one more instance, which one of the top fleet owners who's in the WAF community had shared the other day. I had asked him, what is the biggest challenge you face, or what you dread? He said, one, we dread that, in the middle of the night, our driver would call कि पुलिस ने पकड़ लिया या चुंगी पे अटके हुए हैं, इतने पैसे देने पड़ेंगे. You feel helpless. That still is manageable. So the other thing which really you feel most helpless is, there is a delivery to be completed, of a consignment, and because they get fined if it's delayed. And the drivers know that. So they use arm twisting techniques, just half an hour before or 1 hour before, they'll say, गाड़ी खराब हो गई है, 10,000 मांग रहा मैकेनिक, Paytm kar do paise, so how do you handle such situations? So predictive maintenance or analytics. So if that fleet owner can get empowered, okay, kya kharab hua hai? Okay, this part got changed, then or I did not get a SMS or notification, this part's gonna get defective. So there I feel these technologies can play a huge role.
Yes, absolutely. And like just as a layman example, somebody tells ki engine is absolutely turned off and coolant has leaked completely. See, we can have a real-time history, what has been the engine temperature and the coolant temperature, which is readily available. Agar pura coolant leak ho gaya, so certainly we'll have a track and trace.
Fair enough.
So one more point to be added is today telematics, when we call in transportation telematics, track and trace is just a very basic and minimalistic feature. Means that is something which has to happen. Now the things are aligned to the level of CAN telemetry. Through CAN telemetry, we can ensure, vehicle level connect. And also the major advantage which brings on addition is vehicle level software or firmware related flashings. For that, if we ask any user of the vehicle to come down to a workshop, which would be really not very well appreciated by the users. So through IoT and AI, we have solutions wherein, we can bring these solutions on the table to the operators, and we can very well, remotely flash the vehicle ECUs and firmwares and other things like that.
Or probably not to the table, to the dashboard, probably.
So
okay.
things.
So summing up now, we come into the summing up mode for the panel now. So I will request, so we take a minute or so to sum up our points, what we feel can be the key takeaway for us and for the August audience here. So starting with Shashank San, your key takeaways.
Well, I think we had a very good discussion on what AI or IoT and technology can do. And what is striking is while we can limit ourselves, and we did limit our discussions mainly to use of AI, etc. But basically it's about technology. And we will see technology going forward changing dramatically, whether it is the computing, whether it is connectivity, whether it is vehicle powertrains, whether it is manufacturers getting into software or software guys getting into manufacturing. So
dangerous, that is dangerous territory.
yes, or it's I think more like the collaboration which will happen. We do see a lot of people making open source operating system for IVI, basically with an objective to get into the cloud. Whereas the cloud guys are getting in, like Amazon getting with the QNX just because they are in the cloud and they want the operating system expertise. So we will find these changes happening continuously. I think what the discussion brought out today for me was not just the multiple uses and which currently technology is being deployed, but also giving a hint for the future of how it can drastically alter the relationship, the traditional relationship between the software providers, the hardware providers, the vehicle manufacturers, the consumer, and our relation through data on all these aspects. So I think for me, that was the summary that everybody in the ecosystem of automotive has to be alert of all these changes, which will definitely happen going forward.
Perfect. And if you see the adoption of digital payments, of UPI, India has topped the world in growth and in numbers. It's a phenomenal success story. In fact, there was this video which was trending. At a wedding, there was this dhol wala. He had a QR code on his dhol. If you don't have cash, you can just Paytm or, just send by UPI. So coming to Jyoti ji for his summary and closing remarks.
Yeah, so I think as Shashank said, I think we have spoken on a wide width of topics related to AI and IoT and telematics. But I think if we see it from a perspective of, there is a lot of talk about future of mobility, where are we heading, right? So there are, I think, if we were to put an acronym, we can say PACE. So there is a personalization. Everybody wants his or her car to be very personalized. I think AI can help us do that. We are going to autonomous drive, self-driving cars, where I think that can unleash a lot of power, but it's maybe a little far in future. But AI, all these technology, as Shashank said, it's not just about the AI, it's the overall technology coming together. And how can we use AI to make cars more safer. Because in the end, autonomous is about ensuring that we unleash time. The mobility will always be there to move from point A to point B. But how you can make it more convenient, more safer, not only for the individual, but for the, I think, overall society as well. So traffic, when I say vehicles can talk to infrastructure, so I think AI can play a role there. Smart cities are being talked about, it can play a role there. Cars are becoming more and more connected. So connectivity again means a lot of technologies going into the cars, and this is the area what you speak about, is where the collaborations will come in. Automobile companies, the legacy companies are more in sort of designing cars, but we need more and more these new technologies which have to come in to make these cars become more connected, and that's again where I think the data analytics AI can play a role. And then in the end, it is we are also talking about E means electrification. A lot of cars we are going into a direction where cars will be electrified, and that will change the nature of consumer behavior. Because today we know if you have to go out for a car, I need to fill up my tank, and this is how I typically use my car. But for electrified, it will be you have to rewire yourself, and there will be different type of anxieties which are being spoken about, and AI can help both consumer and create a lot of opportunities for players around us in this space to find solutions to take up care of those anxieties. So I see beyond, I think, car manufacturing and the whole supply chain, in these 4 future trends, the AI and IoT and telematics, all these things will play a role.
Great, that's fantastic. So we have it. So pace is the new buzzword, and we need to gather pace on pace. So coming to Gaurav on his summary and key takeaways.
No, thanks. I think we've had a very good discussion. I would like to frame the way, in my mind, in a way that if traditionally we saw the auto industry as being linear, there's a production, there's a supply chain, there's production, there's customer at the end of the entire chain. I think it is more, not even circular, it is actually more integrated. It's like a spider web. I think that is what technology is going to enable and is enabling also. So at various levels, the front-end communication to the back-end, like I talked about design element, for example, we talked about efficiencies. So that entire spider web is the way, at least is my takeaway of going forward. That is one key aspect. The second thing, learning about whether it is sensors in the car or technology coming in, and whether it is 5G, V2X, etc. I think cars are going to move more from hardware to an element where it's going to be a software package on 4 wheels. To me, that is the way I think the takeaway will be. And I think that the entire integration will get further amplified with the ability of technology, machine learning, all of this will come together. So car as a platform, or car as we've been also talking about it, I think that is a good takeaway for all of us together.
Fair enough. So car as a platform, or mobility as, I don't know, a platform, or as an emotion. Software on 4 wheels, as Gaurav mentioned. So that's going to be a hard one. So coming to Ajay for his key takeaways and summary.
Right. So from a summary point, I'll just say simple. Technology means we are connected. So it's a connected ecosystem, and it is communicating. Based on which area we want to focus upon, take those actions, utilize it. 2 important points, I think, during the discussion it was touched upon, but I'll just want to amplify it. That connected is dependent upon connectivity, the network. So in India, we are seeing a change of network from 2G to 4G and 5G. Still being more than 90% of telematics devices in the market are 2G. So those still needs to be looked upon, because otherwise we have a whole sort of stale devices in the market, and vehicles will go off. So I think that is where I think as an organization, as a community, government needs to look upon that, how they're going to ensure that vehicles still, or the devices still communicate. That is one area. And 4th important part is, again, I'll go back to my statement, identify the areas of operationalizing analytics or the AI.
So eventually it boils down to network, it boils down to battery, it boils down to WhatsApp, not hanging your device, and a good screen guard. and then AI comes into the picture.
And make it affordable for customers.
Okay, Harshit, your key takeaway and summary, please.
So, as an industry, what we can best perform is with the collaborative effort of IoT and AI solutions integrated on vehicles, we can ensure a better and higher efficiency ecosystem, both at the industry manufacturer wise as well as the operational wise. And parallelly, one more important key takeaway, as mentioned by Ajay sir, like as we are speaking of 2G, 4G, and 5G. So when we are market ready with 4G solutions, then yes, we shall prepare ourselves for 5G solutions as well at the same time. Thanks.
Great, fantastic. So any questions? We can take one or two questions. So I will request Aviyukta and her friend to help us with the mics. So we can give one to Singh Saab. He raised his hand first. And then at the back, a gentleman in the white. So please introduce yourself. And you can also mention the name of the speaker and just one question. We just take 3 questions.
Yeah, good morning. Thing is that we all are talking so advanced about the...
You can introduce yourself, sir.
Sorry?
You can introduce yourself. And
Okay, my name is Harinder and I'm doing battery refurbishment and recently I did another agreement with the Israeli company for the IoTs and all, for the vehicle and fleet management. And battery refurbishment, the very good news, because it's a very latest news about 2 days back only, and everybody should know about that one, is that...
and what is the question, sir? If you can
I'm coming to that. Before that one, I'm just giving that one. Let me come to the question first, to the all panelists, that now we are all talking about so much about AI, IoT and telematics, and we are making our vehicles more advanced, more healthy, but more costly also equally. But on the other side, because all the manufacturers are sitting over here, so CM is pushing government for this policy about the petrol and diesel vehicle 10 years and 15 years, because what is the advantage of this AI and everything when we are getting good life and good health out of this vehicle? Then why can't we extend more life in terms of the legal liability on the roads, which government has pushed us for 10 years and 15 years.
Okay, so your question is that what is the use of investing in AI if the vehicle life is limited? Is that the question in a
Because we
in a
can become
nutshell?
more healthy and we should have to increase that life.
Okay. So you're connecting investments in AI to the vehicle roadworthiness. That's what you're connecting. Anything on that? It's a very interesting question.
I think, firstly, congratulations for your brief mention about your tie-up with the company for battery refurbishment. I think that's very helpful from overall recycling of the economy also. I think we should not just limit the whole aspect of technology for just longer life of the vehicle. I think the entire ecosystem that not only we've talked about today and as well as the larger sphere, I think technology and AI is one part of the technology, is helping us to design better vehicles, get better efficiency in supply chains, better manufacturing processes, more consumer interaction. So the entire ecosystem benefits when you are taking advantage of this emerging technology. I think in many ways, maybe a long shot, but what the steam engine did many, many years ago to the world in terms of mobility, I think this entire package of data science, analytics, machine learning, AI will do it for the next generation going forward.
Sir, basically...
Okay, so let's give chance to other people also, sir. At the back. Yeah, can we have the mic there, please? We can connect offline as well in the breaks. Closer to your...
Yeah, Mukesh this side from Bosch Limited. So thanks for this. It was like very pleasure to look at the new trends that go.
A little closer to your mouth, you're not loud
Still,
enough? Yeah.
now it's okay. So my question is to Ajay, Mr. Ajay and Harshit. So when we spoke about prognostics, we spoke about connected workshops and all these things. So just wanted to ask, like, what are the top 3, top 5 pain points today in the market that people are looking or vehicle owners are looking, and how are you trying to solve? And what is the lead time for them that you are able to reduce? Because each day at workshop, they actually lose more than 50,000, which they could have earned by on the road. So what are the things that you are doing, and are you working with respect to solving this problem on the hardware level with edge analytics or on the platform level? And how do you make the information very transparent to also the fleet owners?
Okay, a good question about it, what you've asked. I'll answer in 3 parts, since you touched upon all of them almost. How we are utilizing this connected or a telematics data to improve our channel partner or dealer's performance. So it is about two areas. Number one, giving them information up pre-hand. What is the possible problem in the vehicle? Otherwise, what is the SOP a technician has to do? Talk to a customer, understand, then translate into it, and then put up a diagnostic tool and get the details. If through connected ecosystem, we are able to pre-fill that, we call it a concept called dynamic checklist. We have done that. So what it does, it pre-fills the information for technician beforehand, the moment he opens up a job card. Sorry, I'm going to technical details, but just to answer your point. Number one. Number two, how he can repair it or bring it fast. Means we need to optimize or revise their SOPs. So to correct a problem, there are 10 steps, but all those 10 are required in the same order, or he can only go away and do just only those 2 steps which bring the vehicle up. So this is about efficiency improvement. Number 2 aspect, how we can improve the vehicle serviceability is by increasing the span of 2 services. How we can do that? Predictive service. So that's where customer gets the benefit, right?
Yes.
Because in CV, the objective is uptime. Higher the uptime, higher the business benefit. How we are taking it back into product design, these inputs gives us what are the typical issues which are coming in the vehicle or in the learning of the technician. It goes back into our competency as well as into our product design team, and respective actions are taken to improve training for the technicians or into product design about an operation, vehicle operation into a segment, and then product quality being used. That's how we are using. How we are able to improve it? We are able to improve our service stat. We've revised it recently. I'll share it offline, wherein we are able to bring vehicle uptime in less than 24 hours.
Wow.
Great, fantastic.
Thank you.
One last question and then we break for tea and coffee. One last question. Okay, Mr. Kush Malhotra. Okay, Gaurav, you want to ask?
No.
Okay, Gaurav, you can ask. We can have one more. No worries.
Gaurav Thakur here from Quality Kiosk. We work extensively with automotive companies. I love that statement, software on 4 wheels. How are you handling in terms of quality engineering, getting that software out each and every time? Because now moving from waterfall to agile methodologies, how are you handling that bit? What are the challenges there?
To any specific person or?
Anybody on the panel, because I think all of them would.
This is Gaurav's tagline, right?
Both left and right are pointing here, so, so I will take it. So Gaurav, good to know about your question and your company as well. See, take a cue of what is happening worldwide, right? So you talked about software is just not limited to manufacturing process, it's linked to back-end and consumer engagement as well, right? You're talking about future technologies coming in, whether it is Google or whether it is Amazon. We talked about all these companies working in the future of technology, whether it is autonomous driving and likewise. So what happens is that there is always software being developed and there is always integration which starts to work. So there are pilot programs which are being conducted as we speak by various companies, not just at MG, but at various companies at the R&D centers. And I see that the future will be that these tech companies will be collaborating more and more with automotive companies. Because let's face it, automotive manufacturing is an area which is not just about assembling 5 pieces of Lego and saying, here is a car, right? So there is there's a lot of history which goes in, and of course, Shashank will talk about it. We've got Volvo here as well, commercial also. So vehicle manufacturing is one part. Quality engineering, which comes into factor with new emerging areas, whether it is material science, whether it is reactions, all of that comes in together. So R&D centers, tech centers will work more together closely. So you've got, let's say, Android, right? That's an operating system on various devices. So you'll see software companies coming up with these kind of technologies and packages which are getting incorporated in your vehicles as well as consumer engagement activities. That's the way we see it, and everyone's working in that area.
So Gaurav, can we envisage a day when we open the vehicle's hood and it's written Android inside or powered by iOS?
No, I think we should not be looking at individual brand names. But I think more important fact is that there are back-end software services which are already in the vehicles. I mean, you've got connected cars, so these are the back-end systems are already working. So it's already there right now.
It's already there. Fantastic. So Kush, can you have a mic?
So on top of on a lighter note, it's not, when you open an MG, you will see the MG iSmart system. I don't know about the other names you mentioned.
That's a good one. No, that was a googly.
I think talking about challenges in this software on four wheels, we should not forget that people now start comparing that this is like a new mobile phone that you can personalize it. But I think let's not forget that we need connectivity while the car is moving at 100 kilometers an hour or whatever kilometers an hour in different parts of the world. And it can be fatal if it doesn't work. Unlike mobile, you can live with it, but in automobile, so it has to be fail-proof. And that is why you are seeing, while, let's say we talk about autonomous driving, while on one side, some manufacturers claim that they're at level 3 and beyond, but regulators are still not confident. And I think technology and regulations have to come together to ensure that we are able to offer it. And it's going to be much more complex versus a mobile. Maybe a mobile uses one microprocessor, a car would use maybe multiple processors. This one has, one mobile will use only one operating system. Going forward, what we can envisage, there will be multiple operating system sort of supporting different type of mobility while you're in a car. So challenges are humongous. And I think that's where I think these collaborations come together. We work with different type of service providers to come and make this reality in future.
I think Shashank has to leave, so we have to wrap this up. But I will just say one more thing, adding his comment over here. But cars go through very harsh conditions.
Gaurav wants me to leave.
Harsh conditions which are there because of heat, dynamism, rain, water, snow. So you're right, in terms of the mobile example may not be the most appropriate, but from a technology processing perspective, the connectivity perspective, that is where it comes out as the software package on four wheels. I think that's going to be a very key factor.
I just wanted to add, this, it is very interesting. Actually, I had no intention to have any intervention here. But, when we talk of software on four wheels, we sort of limit ourselves to that aspect, the four-wheel thing with software. Or some people might say software sitting on top of four wheels, or four wheels carrying that software on top of it. But it is actually mobility. So mobility, a better and a more, I would say, expansive thing is mobility, which will obviously have some hardware and will also have a lot of software. So you have parking solutions, or you have autonomous driving. Autonomous driving may be software plus the hardware, but parking solution could be purely software. You could have, cloud services. So when we say software on four wheels, sort of limits it to one small aspect, the product and the corresponding software, whereas the software is all encompassing with the final objective of providing good mobility and transportation. That is what I think.
Absolutely.
Yes,
in fact, moment you say software on four wheels, you get an imagery that there is a cloud and there are four wheels underneath.
Correct. Or as I said, the software sitting on top four wheels, or four wheels carrying that software.
So, it's a software package, like we said, and rightfully said. It will be a combination of both. Exactly. But it'll be a bundle of software and technology being processed, millions per second, or milliseconds as we move along.
And it boils down to what Gaurav had mentioned, the Grandmaster plus AI is the great combination. Well, the other great combination can also be AI plus NS, NS being natural stupidity. So that also you need to, pretty much accommodate while you are taking these important decisions. So I think with that, it's a wrap on the panel one. And before we break, Ajay, aapka question reh gaya? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Please,
please. No props. My name is Kush Malhotra.
Did you sponsor this event, by the way? I'm just kidding. Please go. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Kush Malhotra. I stand as CEO of IMZ Corporate Private Limited. So I'll just take 30 seconds in making me understand.
No pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But make it quick.
Yeah, I'll be quick. So what I understand that the industry has entered the tangible asset to the non-tangible asset. So the non-tangible asset, I term it as, let's say, the AI, IoT, or the telematics, which surely, when we see a vehicle, it's a tangible asset which depreciates, and depreciation happens only for two methods: when we don't do a service within the time frame, and when the driver is not driving the vehicle well. So the non-tangible asset from my industry comes in when we do tracking, tracing, and secure logistics, is we work on the DBMS, that's the driver behavior management system. And now the DBMS evaluates the tilt turn, the harsh acceleration, harsh braking of a driver, and that data goes to the RDBMS, that's the Relational Database Management System on the backend, any of the backends like PostgreSQL or MySQL or Cassandra. So
what's the question? Yeah.
Now the question is this, that when a vehicle has to get serviced, still the service of the vehicle, my question is to Shashank, is that now the vehicle as of now is only getting service according to the fixed kilometer traveled or the fixed duration of when the vehicle has to get serviced. It is not correlated to the DBMS part when a vehicle is being harshly behaved, so the service should happen much before. So that dynamic correlation of the DBMS and the RDBMS and the tangible asset has to be taken into consideration so that the life of the vehicle increases.
So it's a fantastic question, and actually we are already implementing what you just suggested should be done, which is based on data of the driver behavior and the driver usage of vehicle to have a service periodicity accordingly. For example, the brake pads. Normally you let's say at 20,000 kilometers, you do a check, etc. But if you find that the vehicle is being braked very often, you know that from the telematics, from the
IoT sensors.
From the system. The thing is, if you have enough data, and that means if the penetration of the telematics is good, you can, and if you can have very predictive, solid, confident prediction of the behavior of the driving habits, you can see a pattern and actually say, we are now using that, by the way, with brake pads.
Okay.
So we go to some of the drivers and say that you should get your brake pads changed at so and so, and he says, why should I, when you have mentioned this? Then we say you are braking more often. You can, and that is, your question is only relating to the workshop. But as I said, it could also be related to other things, including behavior of, for example, jumping lights or accelerating or over speeding and things like that. So those are also something which we can caution.
Like that goes into a lot of study for insurance premiums now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was
based
getting
on
that
driver
only,
behavior and so vehicle and driver combination goes to the insurance.
The optimization of the insurance, as well as I could get rewards when I get my vehicle services if I was a good driver.
Yes.
Those things
And
could
also, by the way,
come in.
this helps in design. For example, in Indian conditions, we have found the horn is used quite often. So the horn material which is used in Indian specs is different from what is used in, let's say, France or Japan or wherever. We can also, of course, I use the connection also for other things not relating to service. Or, for example, my daughter takes my vehicle, I just see how many times she's over speeding, but then comes, when I tell her, you are over speeding, so she says, what about data privacy? So there is that question of data privacy also. So we have to be sure that while we use this data for design also, I just mentioned the horn for India, for example. You can use this data for design as well, but you have to be sure that you don't violate any data privacy, because it's not the individual's data that you're using, which was your question, but also for design, for example, you use cohorts of data, which means that such type of people will use this type of, so segment-wise, model-wise, you can actually, and that work is being done, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
But do we still, so the open questions here which you come to right away are how many regulations we have? Are the dealerships taking customers' permission before the data is taken out? We've seen what happened in the West. They were taking data out from the OBD2. They were using for insurance premiums. A few, vigilantes, they sued. Millions of dollars was paid in compensation. There were laws brought in. You have to take explicit permission in writing before you take the data. So we have to learn from there. We have to go from landline to 5G.
Yeah, absolutely. Anuj, I think it's a developing area. And I think even in Europe or other places where it's like fairly advanced at this stage, they also have a long way to go, and we, of course, are much behind. So we will develop. So I am sure that the industry and the ecosystem will take care of those legal aspects as well.
Absolutely. So with that, it's a wrap on this panel, and I hope you enjoyed. And of course, we have a tea break right after this. And over to Kiran ma'am.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was an absolutely fascinating and interesting session, even for a complete layman like me. I was 5 years back in California staying with my friend. We were in San Francisco, and she had bought a Mercedes car. And I remember telling her when I got into the car, I said, मुझे लगता है टायर की हवा कम है. कहती है नहीं है, वो स्क्रीन पे आ जाएगा, गाड़ी बता देगी. And I looked like a total गाँव वाली, like, hello, what's this? And now I work in All India Radio, and I have my colleague. And there's a colleague of mine who says, look, I've just bought an EV car, and you know, I'm the first person in AIR to own an EV car. And she's showing me her mobile phone saying that, look, I'm sitting in my room and I can turn on the AC right now so that when I get into the car, mere temperature pe gaadi thandi hoegi. And I felt like such a fool. But now I'm going to say, yeah, that's AI at work, IoT at work. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Terrific session on AI in action at Auto, the present and future use cases. We would now like to felicitate all our panelists with a small token of appreciation from our side. I would request Mr. Dhananjayan of the Focus Group and Mr. Suraj Vasudev of Edelweiss of General Insurance to come on stage and do the honors. Mr. Shashank Srivastava, Mr. Jyoti Malhotra, Mr. Ajay Mittal, Mr. Harshit Mathur, and not to miss the last but not the least, Mr. Gaurav Gupta. Thank you once again, gentlemen, and I'd now like to request our august presence of guests here to join us for a coffee break outside. Thank you once again, gentlemen.